A heart forged in love. A cold winter's night. In the heart of a dense, snow-covered forest stood an old, abandoned cabin. Its wooden frame, once a place of warmth and laughter, now creaked in the heavy silence of winter. Inside, the chill danced through the air, wrapping around a small bundle swaddled in tattered blankets. A baby boy, no more than a few days old, lay alone, vulnerable and frightened. As the wind howled outside, a couple named Henry and Lila were making their way through the woods on a winter hike. They were childless, having struggled with infertility for years, yet their hearts were open and full of love. The couple had always dreamed of having a family, and as they walked, they talked about their hopes and dreams. Suddenly, Lila stopped in her tracks, her sharp instincts picking up on something unusual. "Henry, do you hear that?" she whispered. The sound was faint, almost like a soft cry carried on the wind. The couple exchanged glances and hurriedly followed the sound, their hearts racing. As they reached the cabin, Lila gasped. "Oh my goodness," she exclaimed. "There's a baby in there." Without hesitation, she pushed the door open and rushed inside, Henry close behind her. It took only moments for them to find the tiny boy, his face red from the cold and his little body trembling. Henry knelt down, and Lila carefully lifted the baby into her arms. "We have to get him warm," she said with urgency, wrapping him tightly against her chest. "He's freezing." They rushed back to their car, where they wrapped the baby in a warm blanket and turned on the heater. The little one's cries softened as he nestled against Lila's heart. They decided to name him Oliver, envisioning a bright future for the child they had saved. The joy of family. As the years passed, Oliver became the center of Henry and Lila's world. They poured all of their love and resources into giving him the best life possible. From the moment he could walk, they took him on adventures, camping trips under starlit skies, summer vacations at the beach, and holidays filled with laughter and family gatherings. Oliver thrived in their loving home. He was a curious boy, always asking questions and exploring the world around him. Lila nurtured his artistic side, while Henry introduced him to the wonders of nature. They enrolled him in the best schools, where he excelled academically. But more importantly, he developed a kind heart and a compassionate spirit. His life was filled with love and support, especially from his two doting grandparents, who cherished every moment spent with their only grandson. They shared stories of their own childhood, teaching him the values of kindness, empathy, and hard work. Oliver often felt like the luckiest boy in the world, surrounded by a family that adored him. Shadows from the past. 2 decades later, on a sunny afternoon in early spring, Oliver was preparing for his college graduation. As he reviewed his notes for the upcoming ceremony, a sudden knock on the door disrupted his focus. Lila opened it and stood frozen in disbelief. "Can I help you?" she finally managed to say, her heart pounding. The woman at the door looked disheveled, with dark circles under her eyes and a nervous demeanor. I'm I'm Oliver's mother," she stammered. Lila's heart sank as she realized the woman before her was the very person who had abandoned Oliver. "What do you want?" Lila asked, her voice steady but firm. "I want to see my son," the woman pleaded. "I want to explain everything." Henry, who had just come from the kitchen, stood protectively beside Lila. "You should leave," he said. "You had your chance and you chose to abandon him." The woman's eyes glistened with unshed tears. I know, but I've changed. I've thought about him every day. I was young and foolish. Please just let me talk to him. He deserves to hear my side." Reluctantly, Lila and Henry exchanged glances. Finally, they agreed. "But only for a short time," Lila warned. "Oliver deserves to know the truth, but we will not let you hurt him again." A conversation unfolds. When Oliver walked into the room, he was stunned to see a woman he had never met standing in his living room. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice steady but laced with confusion. "I'm your mother," she said, her voice trembling. "Mother?" Oliver echoed, the word feeling foreign on his tongue. He had heard stories and seen movies where characters had lost their parents, but he had never imagined this scenario for himself. "Why would you come here now?" "I know I don't have a right to ask anything of you," she said, her voice rising with desperation. "But I want you to know that I didn't abandon you because I didn't love you. I was scared and alone. I thought I was giving you a better life. A better life? Oliver repeated incredulously. You left me to die in a cabin. I I was young. I didn't know what to do. She stumbled over her words. I thought about you every day. I didn't want to be a mother. I didn't want to burden you, but I see now how selfish I was. I want to be a part of your life. Oliver's heart raced. He felt a mix of anger and confusion. You can't just come back after 20 years and expect me to accept you. My parents are the ones who raised me. They are my family. Please, Oliver, she pleaded, tears streaming down her face. I can't tell you about your father. I don't know who he is. I was in a bad place at the time. I had to make a choice. And I also know that somebody will have come to the cabine. You owe me some kind of responsibility. After all, my decision to give you up, give you a better life. Responsibility? Oliver's voice grew stronger, fueled by the familiar warmth of his adopted parents' love. You're saying I owe you something for abandoning me? You don't get to guilt trip me into believing that. My parents are the ones who loved, cared, and sacrificed for me every single day. You don't even know who my father is, do you? The woman hung her head, unable to meet his gaze. It was a one-night stand. I didn't know him well. At that moment, Oliver felt a wave of clarity wash over him. You made your choices, and they changed my life forever. But my life has been filled with love. My parents are the reason I am who I am today. I forgive you for what you did, but you will never be a part of my life. The aftermath. After the painful encounter, Oliver found solace in the arms of his parents. He shared everything that had happened, and though it broke their hearts to hear of the anguish their son had felt, they were proud of the man he had become. We will always protect you, Oliver, Henry said, his voice steady. You've been through so much, but you have a family that loves you, and we will make sure she does not disturb your peace. True to their word, Lila and Henry reported the woman to the police for her attempts to manipulate and intimidate Oliver. They sought to ensure that she would no longer be a presence in their lives. Oliver, though saddened by the confrontation, found an unexpected sense of relief. The burden that had weighed on him was lifted. His heart was filled with love for the family that had embraced him, and he realized that his past, though painful, did not define him. A new beginning. As graduation day arrived, Oliver stood in front of the crowd, his heart swelling with pride. Lila and Henry sat in the front row, beaming with joy and love. They had supported him through every step of his journey, and today was a celebration of all they had built together. When his name was called, Oliver walked across the stage, the applause echoing in his ears. He felt a sense of accomplishment that went beyond the degree he was about to receive. It was a testament to the love and support of the family who had raised him, the family he would always cherish. As he accepted his diploma, Oliver caught sight of his parents' proud smiles. They were the ones who had shaped him into the man he had become. In that moment, he understood that family is not defined by blood, but by love. Later that day, the three of them gathered around the dinner table, sharing laughter and stories from the past. Oliver spoke of his dreams for the future, of traveling the world and making a difference. His parents listened intently, their hearts full of pride and hope. As they raised their glasses in a toast, Oliver smiled widely. To family, he said, his voice strong, to love and the bonds we share. In that moment, he felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. No matter what challenges lay ahead, he knew he would face them surrounded by the love of his true family, the family that had chosen him. As the sun set on that beautiful spring day, the three of them sat together, united by a bond that would never be broken. Oliver had found his place in the world, and he was ready to embrace whatever came next. And through it all, he carried with him the lesson that love conquers all, and family is the greatest treasure of all.